Alright, so we're back, of course, to talk about some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and we are here once again to talk about Sephiroth giving Tifa the Aerith treatment. But again, I do want to do a quick follow-up to the previous video, the Barret tattoo missing video. People are saying that there's a better quality trailer on the PlayStation Store. It's like better, way better than the one that's on YouTube. I pulled it up, PS5, 4K, 44-inch TV. I don't see it. Maybe I'm fucking blind. Maybe I'm not pausing at the right moments. You can only like go back like 10 seconds at a time or 10 seconds at a time. So you can't go like frame by frame like you can in editing software. But I just don't see it myself. I'm not saying that the tattoo isn't there for sure. I'm not saying that it's 100% missing. But it's just I don't see it on any trailer that I'm looking at. I don't see the tattoo there. And clearly with the screenshots we looked at yesterday, at least with those screenshots, those versions of the trailer, tattoo's not there. It's not visible. But really, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a fun talking point discussing whether or not the tattoo is or isn't there. What could that mean? But the real, like, main thing from the beginning of the trailer is the characters, of course, just in general. Them on the gurney, them being, like, willed away. Are they body doubles? Or is it fake Shinra stuff? Is it altered footage from Sephiroth, Genova? Like, what's going on there? Like, that's the main talking point from the beginning of the trailer anyways. So, tattoo thing is, like, whatever. I'm just going to mention this, too, really quickly since we're talking about the beginning, because it keeps getting brought up to me that you don't see Red 13's tail on fire at the beginning of the trailer. But I've gone through the trailer, for the whole begin sequence, like frame by frame and shit, just kind of looking at everything, and I don't think you ever get a shot of Red 13's tail. But even if you did, the characters at the beginning of the trailer are potentially dead. So it kind of makes sense that his tail would no longer be on fire. But also it's potentially doctored footage, but it's also potentially like Shinra body doubles, crisis actors, whatever you want to call them. So it also, again, it makes sense that his tail wouldn't be on fire. So, like, again, it ultimately doesn't matter anyways. Anyways, on to the topic of discussion. No! So the topic of Tifa dying, it's something we've talked about a few times here on the channel. I believe we have done like a dedicated video about it, but the topic's kind of resurfacing because of this Rebirth trailer, because of the ending of the trailer when Sephiroth's talking about, I killed her, who is she now, or whatever. And some people, another thing people are confused by is because like the English trailer, for some fucking reason, with like localization with these trailers, dude, they fuck everything up. Because like every other trailer, he name drops Tifa. Like Japanese trailer, I think like the French and Italian, maybe German trailers and shit, like he says Tifa's name in that scene. But for whatever reason, with our English trailer, he just says, her.
Do you know that I killed her?
So this obviously caused people to have, like, shipping discussions, because of people that think, oh, he's talking about Aerith. Because he's talking about killing somebody, he kills Aerith in OG FF7, so he must be talking about Aerith. There's a whole, like, shipping debate. It's really, like, it's kind of like the English localization that keeps, like, those debates coming. Because, like, what is with the ambiguity of that scene, that trailer right there? Like, why do they try to hide shit? It's so annoying, because it's the same thing with, like, the first Rebirth trailer, where, like, the Japanese trailer name drops Zack, right? Cloud's talking to or about Zack in the trailer, and then like the English, they just cut it out. Like, he just doesn't say Zack's name, and it's like, why? What is with the ambiguity? Especially when we're gonna have people that are just gonna translate the fucking Japanese trailers anyways. It's so annoying, dude. Anyways, bit of a tangent there, but 100% Sephiroth's talking about Tifa in that moment in the trailer. So that's why like it sparked the debate of whether or not Tifa's dead or gonna die when it comes to FF7. Like, obviously it's him trying to get in Cloud's head. He's trying to convince Cloud that the Tifa that's with him right now is not Tifa. Like, in the history of Nibelheim incident, he's trying to convince Cloud that he killed Tifa back then. The Tifa is with him now is Genova, who took form of somebody that he loves. It's kind of the TLDR on that. I don't know, when we talk about this, we get a few people that are like, Tifa's not gonna die. They wouldn't do that. That's a pointless death or whatever the fuck. And it's like, I'm not here to have your I'm a Tifa fan so she's not gonna die discussion. We're talking about the possibilities here when it comes to the remake project, and the simple facts of the matter are, which we like to use the facts on this channel. Sephiroth threatens to kill Tifa with that VR scene, right? He shows Cloud a future where meteors destroy Midgar, and him personally killing Barret and Tifa. And not long after that scene, within the Shinra building, he follows through on one of those threats, right? He stabs Barret. If not for the Whispers, Barret's dead in that moment. It's the only reason they survive is because of the Whispers. Otherwise, Barret would be dead. So him following through on one of those threats. So it stands to reason that he's going to attempt to follow through on the other threat of killing Tifa. Now, maybe it's an idle threat on his end. Maybe he's just trying to scare Cloud. That is, of course, a possibility. Some people think that they wouldn't kill Tifa because it'd be like a pointless death. It'd be just done to like shock the fans. Like, oh my god, they actually did it. They killed Tifa. Like, that's what people think. But she's a very important character when it comes to the original FF7, right? She's the one that pieces Cloud's mind back together in the live stream. If that doesn't happen, they probably don't go on to defeat Sephiroth, right? He's the main character, he's the hero, so like without him in the party, they probably wouldn't defeat Sephiroth, especially when you get the final battle at the end of the game where it's just Sephiroth and just Cloud. But if Sephiroth has the knowledge that we believe he does when it comes to Remake, right? He seems like he knows what's going to happen, the events of the future, whether he knows how he got the knowledge that he has. But he should know that that's supposed to happen, right? That Tifa would be the one to piece Cloud's mind back together. So why exactly would he not want to kill her? But also, if Sephiroth's goal is to like fuck with Cloud or break him mentally and things like that, like how would killing his childhood crush, the girl that he loves, not be on his to-do list? That's what like every villain ever in any medium does, is kill your loved ones, right? So that makes perfect sense alone, just in that regard. But also, like, thinking back to OGFF7 and how Aerith's death affects the group, right? And part of that's, like, the loss of innocence, right? She's a very innocent person that just gets murdered. That's part of what makes it so sad. But think about how Tifa's death would affect the group, right? Cloud's known her most of his life, if not all of his life. Barrett's known her for probably years at this point as well. And the group also gets to know her as y'all are journeying around the world and stuff, right? So, like, she would have technically a bigger impact on the group for her death. And again, this is not me saying that she's gonna die. But imagine think of how broken Cloud is because of Aerith's death. How broken would he fucking be if Tifa died? Also find it kind of weird that people think that Sephiroth wouldn't want to kill Tifa, because it kind of undermines the importance of Tifa, right? Like, why would he not want to kill Tifa, given how important she is to Cloud? And again, if he knows the future type shit, he knows that Tifa's the one that helps Cloud, repairs Cloud mentally. So, like, why would he not want to prevent that? Like, I don't know. It's weird to me people think that, like, Sephiroth just is oblivious to the importance of Tifa. Since we're talking about the possibility of Tifa dying, we might as well mention this too. Like, people are adamant that the live stream scene is not going to change, right? Like, that has to be in the game. It's the most important scene. A lot of devs, it's debatably like their most favorite scene from the game. It's technically the ending of the game in some ways. But like, that can still be done if Tifa was dead. With the way that death works in Final Fantasy VII, like if Cloud were to have a broken mind fall into a live stream, she could still help him repair his mind from beyond the grave, right? They're literally in the live stream when that scene happens. So Tifa's death wouldn't prevent that. The scene we got in the VR might just be like an idle threat from Sephiroth, and that's perfectly fine, right? Typical villain shit. But something I thought of while making this video that is actually kind of a cool idea that would keep it in line with OGFF7 is, what if he was doing that just to kind of distract Cloud? Because going into Rebirth, Cloud's going to be like, well, Sephiroth threatened to kill Barret and Tifa, and he went through with one of those, but Barret didn't die. So maybe now, going into the next game, he's going to have like all eyes on Tifa, got to protect Tifa. Sephiroth's going to try to kill Tifa. Maybe that's Sephiroth's plan, so that he's distracted and can still go and kill Aerith. Which I think would be kind of a cool spin on the original. Cloud's not focused on the entire party, right? He's not watching Aerith enough. Like, he's really focused on trying to protect Tifa, and then obviously maybe Aerith slips away like she did in the original game, and then she gets killed. Like, maybe that's kind of what they're doing with, like, the spin on the original, maybe. And look, ultimately with a discussion like this, there's always going to be discourse, right? There's people that are always going to think that they would never kill Tifa. That's not a possibility. It's completely off the table. But a lot of people who have that mindset are also people that think that the game's not going to change at all. The story's going to be exactly the same. So, like, there's never going to be room for discussions or debate, because they're just always going to disagree, right? We're always just going to disagree. I personally think there's going to be some changes in some capacity. I think Zack's potentially alive, right? The ending of Remake, for me, sets up, like, a different kind of future. Not that the game's going to be 100% different. I just think there's going to be a lot of new shit, story elements, not just minor things. And there's always going to be a difference in opinion until, like, we have an answer, right? Like, people think the story's not going to change. People are going to think that the story will change. It's just, we're going to disagree until Rebirth comes out, essentially, probably. But again, the point of this video, I got to keep reiterating this so people don't get all up in their goddamn feels. I'm not trying to convince you that Tifa's going to die. It's not my theory for Rebirth that Tifa's going to die. I just think it makes perfect sense that Sephiroth would want to kill her, right? It makes perfect sense if he wants to break Cloud mentally, even break the group mentally, because her death would also severely fuck up, like, Barret, for example, too, right? But also, ultimately, he's at least threatened it with the VR, and that's kind of where I fall in line with it. Like, okay, he's at least threatening to Cloud, trying to get in Cloud's mind, even if it's just a fuck with Cloud, that he's going to make an attempt at Tifa's life. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but he's at least threatening that. That part of this whole discussion is an absolute fact. It doesn't matter what you think or feel, right? He's threatening to kill Tifa. Maybe it's just an idle threat. Maybe he never even puts a sword towards Tifa's direction in the rest of the story, right? But he's at least threatening that shit. And that's why, like, I think it's a possibility. Maybe he makes an attempt at Tifa's life and, you know, Cloud's prepared and stops and blocks the sword attack or some shit, right? That could happen. Whatever the fuck. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not goddamn making the games. Actually, since we're getting to the end of the video here, like, I just was thinking about something. We mentioned, like, the end of the trailer earlier where, like, Sephiroth's trying to convince Cloud that he killed Tifa, and the Tifa that's with him is, like, Genova, essentially. What if they went that route? I know that it'd be such a fucking curveball, and I imagine the majority of the fan base wouldn't like it. But what if they had those kinds of balls? What if, like, he says that shit, and, like, Cloud's like, what? Turns to Tifa, and Tifa's like, turns into a fucking Genova monster or some shit. That'd be fucking stupid. It would obviously not go over well with the fan base, but there's part of me that would love them for being willing to do that shit. It'd be kind of crazy if, like, think about it, like, we don't know exactly when that scene's happening, I guess, maybe the cargo ship or something, but, like, we're traveling with Tifa through most of Remake and like half, not even halfway, I guess. Car should be like a third, fourth of the way through Rebirth, but like we get that far into like the FF7 Remake story, and like the Tifa we're with was never Tifa. Like that'd be so crazy, dude. I know it's not gonna happen. That's not what I'm saying here, but like, my God, if they went that route. Anyways, that's more or less the video, my dudes. Like, the point of the video is that I think it makes perfect sense that Sephiroth would want to kill Tifa. Like, why would he not want to? Why would he not want to kill Tifa? Like, that is absolutely something that a villain would do, any villain would do, especially if you want to break them mentally. Why not kill Aerith and Tifa? Why not kill everybody? Maybe just Cloud left at the end. Just Cloud by himself going to the North Crater. Fight Sephiroth and Bizarro Sephiroth and Saber Sephiroth. Just Cloud by himself. Nobody. Cloud and Zack. Fucking, I want the third game to just be two dudes killing her. I don't know. Fuck. They are bullshitting a lot with this video, and I don't know what's... Maybe I just get giddy talking about Tifa dying. I don't know what it is, man. Like, what the fuck is happening? But yeah, what are your thoughts? It's almost cliche, but it's villain 101, right? Like, here's the protagonist. I'm the antagonist. They're kind of strong. I don't want them to kill me, so I'm going to kill their loved one to break them mentally so they're not as strong to fight me. Like, it's basic shit, man. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DashingdavidYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Cobain.